Hello everybody, I'm going to talk about an important topic called basic food hygiene, right? In this basic food hygiene, I'm going to talk about the importance of food safety, right? We're talking about food safety. This play a key role in the running a profitable food business. It is mandatory requirements from the food control authorities in any country that all food or business must follow the hygienes to avoid food poisoning or outbreak. So this simply means that it's a law of every country for them to regulate or control the food that is coming or the preparation of food by every restaurant or food that are coming in the country. So the importance of safety of food is more essential. So what is food hygiene in this context? All hygiene practices necessary to control hazard and to ensure that the food is safe to consume or eat by anyone. So you eating the wrong food it also can create hazard. Hazard means that something that can serve as a threat that can endanger people's life, right? So food hygiene also, you eating the wrong food can cause hazard to people, right? So in this topic, we are trying to talk about the mechanism how basic food hygiene can help people or can help to save lives, that people will stay away from food poisons and from other things. So we're talking about hazard in food safety. Hazard here means that anything present in a food which can also affect human being or any customers or people that is eating that food, right? Hazard are of 4 types in the food area. We have the microbiological, right? That is hazard. These are like the bacterial, like a virus or yeast or parasite in a food, right? So the microbiologic, that is one. Then number 2, we have physical. Physical can either be like a human hair or button or glass or stones or screws. You understand? This can be hazard to food also. Then we're talking about point number 3, like chemicals. Chemical also can be hazard to food, like a cleaning chemical, pesticide or excessive addictive, you understand? So this simply means that, like chemical, you wipe a table, the chemical is still there, someone puts food there, that food will become contaminated, you understand? Or you mix food and this chemical together, you mix them, like let's say you have a food in a bag, then you have a chemical also in the same bag, so that one also can be contaminated. Then point number 5, we're talking about allergic hazard also, like a peanut. Some people can eat peanuts, eggs or shellfish or milk or cereal. It can become hazard to them because it doesn't fit their system. Then I'm going to talk about food poisoning, right? So food poisoning in this context, it actually can cause illness by consumption or eating this contaminated or poisoned food also. Like, which are the symptoms that you can face in when you eat food that is poison, that is contaminated? Like the symptoms of this poison, you can have abdominal pain, you can feel pain in your stomach or cramp. They can also have diarrhea or sometimes vomiting or nasal, or also feeling weak or dizzy. They can also have fever or dehydration. Then sometimes people can even faint because of bad food, and you can even fall down and become unconscious because of bad food. So basically, food poisoning can also caused by some type of food you eat due to the 5 hazard, like something like bacteria, which is microbiological. They have a physical, like hair or stones in the food, or chemical, like those washing chemical or soap or whatever. Then allergic, like peanuts. Sometimes you eat peanut. These things also are allergic to the system also. Then we're talking about the benefits of good hygiene in food, right? The benefits of good food hygiene. We're talking about this one. First of all, the benefit is that you can satisfy your people, your family, that when you cook good food, it's good. You can satisfy your family, you can satisfy your customer, your clients, you know. So these are good reputation. It's also good reputation for your brand, for your home, for your family. Oh, this person is decent, is cooking good, you understand. Then also you're talking about compliance with food safety and legislation. So that simply means also you work with the compliance of the regulation that food should be in good form, it should be hygienic, you know. So we're looking at also this microbiological hazard, right, which was the first point I mentioned in hazard, in food hazard. Like microbiological hazard is like bacterial, you know. Bacteria is the most common food poison or microorganism, right? Most of the bacteria that are harmless. Harmful bacteria can cause food poison through contaminated or multiplicated or survival, right? So we're looking at the topic, some of this food, because of contamination, it can become poisonous to the system, like you don't store it in a very good way. So I'm going to measure what is contamination in this context, right? We're talking about contamination of food, right? The presence of an introduction of microbiological hazard to the food. This is contamination. How can we control this contamination of food? You know, then I'm going to mention about 7 points how to prevent contamination of food. You have to keep a raw or ready to eat food separate from each other. So if you have a raw food like a beef, then you have a food like vegetable to eat at that particular moment, you have to separate them. Even in your fridge or freezer, you have to separate them from each other so they will not become contaminated, or your storage room. Then point number 2, you have to use high standard of personal hygiene. That is cleaning your place. You have to use high standard of personal hygiene. Then point number 3, you have to use effective cleaning and disinfectants, right? So you don't need to use, you have to look for certain one that is good, that is not harmful to human being, right? It's not harmful to you. Then point number 4, you have to use proper food storage that I highlighted before. You have to keep your food separate from chemical, from raw food, from fresh food, right? For the other food not to be contaminated. Then point number 5, you have to look at proper disposal of waste. So you should not put your waste food or waste product with food that you know that you are going to eat. You have to separate them and try to put the other food that is waste into the garbage bin, right? So we're talking about what is multiplication here in this context of food hygiene. Multiplication here means that is the growth of bacteria in the food under a favorable condition, like highly moisture or nutrients times or damage zone or temperature between 5 degrees to 60 degrees, right? So because of temperature also can lead to the multiplies of bacteria, like the way if you keep food that is not supposed to be on the heat, it be on the heat which is supposed to be on the cold, so the bacteria can multiply. So how can we control multiplication of this bacteria? I'm going to measure 3 points how we can control it. First is this food must be stored outside a danger zone, right? If the food is not good or it can be contaminated, you have to in a safer place. Then also point number 2, the chiller food below degree should be 5 degrees. Then the hot above 60 degrees. So if you are warming your food, you have to warm it above 60 degrees. Then you have to freeze below 5 degrees. So that also can help, you know, in controlling this multiplication of bacteria, you know. So we're talking about like preservative, right? You can preserve your food in cold or hot.